Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is Joe Lundberg, Senior Meteorologist at AccuWeather. Joe, thank you so much for joining me.
You're quite welcome, Brittany.
AccuWeather described that Colorado could be facing the biggest storm of the season. First, to start off the conversation, what can they expect?
Well, it all depends on where you are in Colorado. In the city itself, Denver, we're expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 inches or more with the storm system. The snow has begun to stick over the last couple of hours, but up in the mountains, they've seen quite a bit more than that. So, again, elevation is going to be dependent upon how much you get there, but some places are going to see well over a foot of snow, one of their biggest storms they've seen in quite some time, certainly during this winter season.
Aside from Denver seeing about 6 inches, what are the other areas that are going to see even more snow, as you said, up to a foot?
I've already seen some snow totals in the higher elevations, talking like 8,000 feet, upwards of 8 to 10 inches of snow. And again, it's still snowing right now. So some of those places we're probably talking 12 to 18 inches of snow, and locally, up to upwards of 24 inches of snow. This is a big event for them. And I know I-70 is already closed at this point in time in places.
Big event for them. It sounds like it's good weather for skiing, bad weather for commuters. Can you take us inside what you think the road conditions are going to be?
I'm not going to be good at all. I mean, you're going to have snow-covered roads. It's going to be messy for the rest of the day today before conditions improve as the storm system moves away, and they can get back into some more reasonable weather starting during the day tomorrow.
So today it will be the worst. When can they expect some sort of relief?
It looks like later this afternoon into tonight, the snow will begin to let up in intensity to some degree. It may not be completely over until later tonight, but I think tomorrow we'll start to see some improvement in the weather for them as that storm moves away.
The people of Colorado are more used to snow than others in the country, but give us some advice here. What should they do to prepare? What should they do in the thick of it? Give us some advice.
In the thick of it, you just, when the snow's coming down at its hardest, I mean, if you can obviously stay home, that would be a great idea to do that. I mean, obviously some people are required to drive for work and stuff like that, but just, slow your speeds down, give yourself plenty of extra time between you and the neighbors around you so that you have time to react, in case somebody starts slipping and sliding somewhere. But, if you have the opportunity to work from home, there's a great idea.
I talked to one of your colleagues about Groundhog Day. Puxatawny Phil predicted an early winter, or an early spring rather. That doesn't seem to be the reality for the people of Colorado. Is it common for the people of Colorado to see a storm this late in the season? Because when you're thinking of March, you're putting winter in the rear view.
You are, but if you look at the climatology of Colorado, they typically get some of their worst storms outside of the true winter season. They get them in October and into November. And then during the heart of the winter season, sometimes they go for long periods of time without big snow events. And then as you go into the spring season, you can get these wild events, not just in March, but also in April and even May. They've seen some snow and some pretty big snowstorms. So it's not uncommon for Colorado to see snow at this time of the year.
Potentially the biggest snowstorm of the year, but from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like it's going to be the last one. Is there any indication that more snow is on the way for Colorado?
As you look at the weather pattern going into next week, there's another lobe of cold air that is going to work its way down from central Canada down into the northern Rockies and northern plains. And it's not out of the question of one of those pieces of cold air will come in play with a storm try to come up out of the southern plain states. The question is, will the moisture be thrown that far back into the western part of the plain states and eastern Rockies, or will it stay east of them? That's uncertain, but we're probably looking at the time frame of the 24th, 25th, or 26th.
Joe, before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about what's on your radar for the rest of the country. Are there any other storms or weather events we should be aware of?
Well, we've got a severe weather event unfolding right now across the nation's midsection. That storm system that's producing the snow in Colorado is also having a hand in producing the severe weather across parts of Missouri and Iowa, and that'll be spreading across parts of the Ohio Valley. That system will then move to the eastern seaboard and weaken to some degree. There'll be some more wet weather this weekend across the Gulf Coast states, but what that essentially is going to do is draw colder air back into the pattern. So all of the spring warmth that you're seeing in the eastern half of the country, you're going to say goodbye to that for a few days because it's going to turn much colder. You'll see some snow in the air around the Great Lakes and the higher elevations of the Northeast over the next week.
That's not music to my ears. I am in the Northeast. So you're saying spring is not blooming this weekend? Another wet Saturday for New York?
Well, I think New York City will probably be okay for Saturday, maybe a shower on Sunday. It'll still be relatively mild if you compare it to historical averages. But you go to next week, you better have those jackets handy. You're going to need them next week.
Cold or rainy?
I think it's just cold. It looks like the next storm track early next week stays to the south and east. Maybe late next week, somewhere around the 22nd or 23rd, next Friday, Saturday, a storm system will come up. But by then, the cold air will be in retreat. And if you get anything then, it would be in the form of rain and probably not snow.
Joe Lundberg, thank you so much for your insights. You're welcome back anytime.
You're quite welcome, Brittany.